Hello, this is Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan from Nandadeep Eye Hospital and FECO Training Center, and in this video I'll be speaking about a case of a non-rotating nucleus and what I did to fix that. 75-year-old, a senior physician with dense cataract, decided to undergo cataract surgery. I am going to use Hylucoat to coat the endothelium because this is nucleus cross is grade 3 to 4, and the CCC is being done now using the bent cystitome. Now the key things here is that the age is more, the cataract is dense, and you can also see that the density is more near the posterior capsule, and I am doing hydrodissection here, and I couldn't get good fluid wave, but now you can see that good fluid wave can be achieved, and I thought that I have done good hydrodissection, so I decided to try to rotate the nucleus. Now most of the times with denser nuclei, the whole nucleus is literally filling the bag, and as you can see here that I am trying to rotate, but probably it was hydrodelineation and not hydrodissection, so I decided to further do hydrodissection, and I could see the anterior movement of the nucleus with the fluid being pushed, so I thought that now the hydrodissection is complete, so I decided to start FECO. So for the initial trenching I am using low IOP. The idea is here to first do a trench divide, and with the fluid going in, most likely the nucleus should start rotating freely as the fluid gets pushed between the capsule and the nucleus. So I carefully made the deep trench in the central 4 mm, and a good division could be achieved, and now I am trying to rotate it, but as you can see there is a lot of resistance for the rotation. Now when we are rotating with one instrument, basically the counter traction is provided by the zonules, and if the nucleus is not rotating well, it may be because of weak zonules as well. So one has to be really careful when you are having resistance while rotating the nucleus. The other reason can be corticocapsular adhesion which are there, which might cause resistance to the nucleus. So whenever we are rotating the nucleus and it is not rotating freely, remember that the forces are being transmitted to the zonules, and zonules might get damaged during this process. I noted some conjunctival ballooning near the incision, so I stopped many times. Some surgeons ask me how to take care of this. So just make a nick near the incision, vertical nick like this, and even when we are operating on topical, like in this case, if you don't stretch the conjunctiva, the patient doesn't feel any pain, because conjunctiva is more sensitive for stretch and expansion rather than touching it. So you can cut it without any pain if it is already under paracaine. So I am using a bimanual rotation here, which is much safer than doing unimanual, because this kind of provides a counter force for the rotation, and the force is not transmitted to the zonules. So even with this bimanual rotation, you can see that the nucleus is still not rotating completely freely. So I think it is snugly fitting in the bag. So I now took out one piece which I had chopped from the bag, and now I am going to take out all the pieces one by one. So chopping the entire nucleus into pieces before you take out the first piece is, I feel, very safe, because then you don't have to struggle for the last piece chopping. And you can see that even now the nucleus is not rotating completely freely, but I am using my Sinskey to bring out the nucleus pieces in the center and emulsifying. Now I am trying to remove the epinucleus, and as I start removing the epinucleus, you can see that this particular area in the inferior and inferior temporal part, you can see that there is corticocapsular adhesion, So this might be the reason why the nucleus was not rotating freely. Other could have been a hydrodissection could have been better. I think on the hindsight, I could have done more hydrodissection, maybe for more number of efforts could have been given. But if there is a corticocapsular adhesion, many times we have this difficulty to rotate the nucleus even after getting hydrodissection in other parts. So in one particular part, the nucleus and the cortex is quite adherent to the capsule. So this is a case similar to that. Cortex removal was quite easy after that particular area was already dealt with, and in this case I implanted a trifocal IOL, and because I have done some nuclear rotation against the zonules, I thought for the preventive purpose, so that if there are some weakened zonules, I do not want any decentration of the IOL, or the IOL should remain center as well as the back should not decenter. So I am putting a prophylactic capsular tension ring, and just watch how I am doing it using the McPherson. The leading eyelet was guided by the Sinskey into the bag, and now I am going to use the microcapsular axis forceps to push it in, making use of the Sinskey also to guide it in the bag. So this is the end of the procedure. Well centered IOL, nice and clear cornea. Patient was quite happy with the procedure. You can see a little bit of capsular fibrosis in the posterior capsule, also in the infratemporal area. That was the area of corticocapsular adhesion. I am going to leave that plaque there at present and do the YAG laser later on. Thank you so much for watching this video. So I hope you have learned few more things from this. Do visit our website phacotraining.org.in. You can submit your own videos so that we can audit and review it. You can submit anonymously and get more tips from us. Thank you so much.